Let's get straight to the point here. I think Sombra is OP. Even in our competitive games where there's not a lot of team synergy, I think Sombra can single-handedly win you games as well as gain you more SR than normal because of the performance-based system. Let's talk about it here today. The thing that's always held Sombra back, in many people's opinions, was the fact that she requires a lot of teamwork to pull off correctly. That means in solo queue and our competitive games, we're not going to really have the team, synergy to use Sombra to her fullest potential. And at first, I believed that when she was a little bit weak. I thought maybe that's why she wasn't really good. But now that she's been buffed, I see it's a little different than that, I think. Not only does Sombra require teamwork, but she also requires teamwork to play against. And I actually think that balances her out a lot better than others. This means what I'm saying is basically your team might not have the synergy required to deal with a Sombra that's focused around team play, but the enemy team doesn't have the ability, the teamwork to also deal with a good Sombra. And I think Sombra, when played properly, actually has a lot of solo carry potential. Maybe as much as Tracer, but in a different way. Let's start by talking about the common Sombra strategy that you see people like Cody use and other good Sombra use on 2CP defense, where you hack a health pack, you place your translocator, and you get behind the enemy team and you try to kill some of them. Or, take down a lot of their HP and charge your ultimate. This strategy alone requires a lot of teamwork to play against, and it only requires Sombra herself to pull off, which means one person can effectively require the enemy team to get their crap together and turn around on the Sombra when she appears behind and tries to take out your Zenyatta or your Ana or somebody who's not paying attention. And I think this is a pretty worthwhile trade. Think about what you do as Sombra here. You're going to go behind the enemy team unnoticed, and you're going to catch someone off guard 90% of the time. Maybe they know you're coming, but they don't know when you're coming, so you're going to catch them off guard. The thing is, even if you don't get the kill, you have almost a guaranteed escape if you've ever played Sombra at all. If you have an ounce of knowledge on Sombra, you know that when you start taking damage, probably a good idea to just use your translocator and get back to safety, or maybe wait until you're below half HP, but you get what I'm saying here. You have a very low risk ability, low risk maneuver that provides your team with a very high reward when pulled off correctly. Either you get a kill, 2 kills, or you just charge your ult and distract the enemy team long enough to where they have to use some healing abilities, Ana's got to reload, Mercy has to change her focus, and your team is probably pressuring them from the front the whole time. I've been watching some of Cody play Sombra. He was formerly the #1 Sombra. He probably still is. I haven't checked. But what I've noticed is that not every game is he super actively communicating with his team. He plays Overwatch just like we do, usually with one person queued with him or solo. He rarely goes over that, which means he's also getting teams that don't have that much synergy and team play. And there are some games where the only thing he calls out is when he's going to use his ultimate, and occasionally when an enemy is low on HP. And that's it. That doesn't require a lot of team play to understand and get the hang of. And he does it very well and climbs with it. So he's showing that this aggressive style of Sombra play, which can be applied to other maps, other types of game modes other than 2CP, can be a sort of solo carry thing. And on top of this, Sombra is going to provide a lot more for your team than just Tracer can. Tracer can only provide kills, but Sombra can provide kills, healing, and disruption, assassinations, and her ultimate, which we're going to talk about, is also pretty big when used right. Might as well talk about it now. The ultimate Sombra has is where you're going to need communication for your team, but not that much. A lot of people seem to think you need to plan it out like years in advance when you're going to use your ultimate. You gotta get your whole team together on a whiteboard and talk about every little maneuver that's going to go on. It's not really that complicated. You can often just look for a teammate on your team with an ultimate that pairs well with your EMP, like a Soldier 76's tactical visor, or maybe even a graviton surge, stuff like this, and just wait for them to have that ability and tell them to go on you. That puts a lot more decision making on you and takes it away from your teammates, because we all know some of your teammates aren't going to know the proper time to ult, they're not going to know the proper time to use their abilities. So if you basically tell them, hey, just do it when I use my EMP, it makes the job a lot easier for them. And in that regard, I think Sombra can be a very solo carry oriented hero. If you still think Sombra is weak, I can lead you to the pro scene. Now, I know the pro scene isn't something we should base base our games off of because it's different. But in Korea, pros love Sombra. They just love her. They adore her. They throw her in so many compositions because she's just so versatile, so powerful. She provides a lot for her team. So we definitely know she's not underpowered. You just have to use her right. And I think if you adapt a more of a solo carry mindset and a minimal communication mindset, only telling your team what they need to know, Sombra can be that hero that solo, well, I've said it a lot, solo carries. On top of this, we're ignoring the SR-based performance system. Now, a lot of people don't know how to play Sombra, so her win rate is really low, and the average stats on Sombra suck. They are terrible. Now remember, when you play Overwatch, performance-based SR means if you're performing better than the other people playing your hero at your rank, you will gain more SR and lose less SR than everyone else. And if you can learn Sombra, you can definitely pull this off because most people don't play Sombra and her average stats are very low. This means one-tricking her or even just playing her to a very high level, if you know her well enough, is going to net you fat SR gains and slim SR losses, and you should be able to climb more effectively once again. Heroes like Tracer and McCree are highly played, which means their average stats are going to be harder to beat, and it's going to be harder to get big SR adjustments on them unless you're truly exceptional. Let's actually talk about Sombra's kit a little bit here, a little more. I want to talk about her hack and the effect it has against dive comp, because dive comp is very powerful in the current meta. You may not even realize you're using a dive comp, but if your team has a Winston and a Genji, or Winston and a Tracer plus Diva, heroes like this, you're probably running a pseudo dive comp at least. Think about things Winston, Genji, Tracer, and Diva all have in common. When you hack them, they can usually die. Diva has no defense matrix. The most OP thing she has, possibly the most OP thing in the game, is removed from her with hack, which means two things. One is she's easy to kill. And two, it means just by right-clicking as Sombra, you remove the need to take Diva out of mech for other ultimates. You know how some people try to get Diva out of mech before you Graviton Surge or use other projectile-based ultimates. With the Sombra, you don't need to do that. As soon as you get that hack off, you've got her, and you can throw that Graviton Surge with ease, and it'll lead to a much easier team wipe than it would have previously. Tracer, Genji, and Winston don't like hacks either because it takes away all of the mobility that they previously had, and you can often catch them out and off guard and get kills on them. Winston, you have the added benefit of when you EMP, you take away his shield, and that's a pretty big engagement tool, and if he's got a Zarya bubble, you remove that as well, if I'm not mistaken. And even if you don't do that, that's a huge swing in a fight that they just fully engaged on. So Sombra can definitely help you win there as well. Not only do you counter heroes like Tracer and Genji, but you also actually synergize with them too. The ability to hack health packs makes your Tracers and your Genjis and all of your flankers love you that much more. They rely on those health packs to live, so making sure they're always up is going to be a huge benefit to your team. So all of the heroes that are meta right now, Sombra either counters or synergizes with, and her EMP is just a huge game changer when you communicate it properly. Like I said, just find someone who's got an ultimate that can pair with it and just tell them when you're going to use it and ask to do that. Furthermore, there's one hero in the meta I know you all hate seeing, especially when she gets a big ultimate off. That's Mercy. Sombra is the death of Mercy. If you just save your EMP and wait for Mercy to be flying into the fight and you just EMP right then and there, she's just going to fly in right to her death, assuming you time it right. Or if you can use her invisibility to find her in the middle of the fight, you can hack her right when her team's all dying, and then she's just going to scramble around and try to live and not going to be able to do anything. She can't fly to her teammates, and she can't even res. So you're countering one of the most annoying and most powerful heroes in the game. Again, once just Sombra right now just feels good. She plays well, and she's so useful in so many more ways than you think. I personally am actually going to start playing her a lot more. Sometimes I make these meta videos and I don't really follow up on them, and I don't really play the heroes I recommend, but Sombra is someone you're definitely going to be seeing me play a lot more when I stream and when I just play in general, because I actually do believe she's that good. I'm not even very good at her, and there are games where I know for at least a few minutes, I'm just stomping. Until I make that critical error and die, I just go off and go ham, and that's without any practice. I think Sombra can have potential. Tell me what you guys think down below. If you agree, if you disagree, be sure to leave a comment. And check out yesterday's video about some new confirmation on the summer games and potential information on Doomfist, because that's a thing. Anyway, I'll see you guys all later. Have a good one. Lone Hawk out.